a big middle school principal voice, and I'm trying to figure out how to make this work, or if I even need to. I give up. Okay, I'm just going to yell at you, all right?
Okay.
Okay. Tell me in the back if you cannot hear me shouting across the playground to you. All right. Thanks. Great job, you guys. That was great to hear your ideas. As we transition into the next activity, I want you to take a moment, think back, look back through your notes about what we learned yet this morning. And in your notes or on a sticky note, jot down one idea that you can picture using in the school you're going to work with within the first month. What of the things we practiced today can you apply within the first month? Make a contract with yourself. So I'm just saying, we may or may not revisit that next week. Just saying, just keep it on ya. All right. I know that I'm one of two things standing between you and lunch, so I'm going to be very careful to be on time because I know what happens there. I want to say thank you to Lori for the leadership in that last section. It was very timely, as things often are in this kind of work. A colleague of mine and I were just talking yesterday at the conclusion of a meeting about what are we going to do about this person? They're off task, they're not attending, it feels disrespectful. And then we continued it through text throughout the evening, like, okay, how are we going to fix this? How do we stay positive? Okay, let's make a plan for next time, you know. And we moved through that whole cycle of, oh, that makes me upset, to how do we help make it better? So thanks for helping us out with that this morning. All right, on your tables, there are some papers I passed out at the break. And one of the things that we are talking about in this coordinator group, so we lightly say, what the hell is going on with this project? What the hell is this project? Yeah. So it's been like an onion, right? Raise your hand if you feel like a little bit gets revealed, and then maybe a little more, and I get a little more this time. Give me a thumbs up if today you walked in here saying, I got to have a plan for what I'm doing that person. Good, thank you. I've gotten that from a few of you. I understand. So what we're going to delve into right now is what might be some words that can be used to describe this high impact. Let me start. What might be some words you would use to describe this high impact leadership project? So from what you know right now, grab a sticky note. We're not going to have to keep this till next week. Grab a sticky note or something and just come up with 10 words, 8 words that help you key into what is this, what the hell is this about? What are we doing? I have passed out there. Thank you.
Who else? What words are you using?
So when you have your words, and it looks like some of you are ready, please turn to an elbow partner and just share the words you already have in your head about what are we doing.
Okay.
Best practice, that's why. Really. That's nice. Yeah, that's how I used to teach at Kobe, so I know him here and I'm really well.
Thank you. So two things I know we can promise you is that each time we meet, we'll know a little bit more. And each time we meet, you will feel more confident and prepared to do the next step. So talk about building trust. You don't know us from Adam most of
So
the time.
eventually you're saying we'll know what the hill we're doing.
What I'd like you to do right now by yourself is get an index card out of the box there. I hope there's enough, might be stickies. Here, I guess. And reflect on the important points of this project. On one side of the index card, take a moment and read this. So how is this same and different than what I just asked you?
We're gonna read. Are we processing this right?
So we're going to read the document that has the pretty picture on the front, right? But this is not a random, well, it's about this, it's about that, it's about this. This is where you key in very specifically on the objectives of the project. What are the goals that by the time 2.5 years are done, we hope our schools have achieved? What's the plan? Okay? So we're going to develop a 30-second elevator speech. When you go into the school and you're meeting people, whether it's the superintendent or a board member or the principal or a teacher or the lunch lady, how would you describe why you are there? What is this project about? We are going to spend a few minutes constructing that speech for ourselves using the words that you've just gathered. And then when I tell you the signal, you will move to your 9 o'clock partner, decide who is A and who is B. Partner B will start and use their 30-second, I want that commercial for celebration, whatever, the cruise line. Partner B is going to describe and A listens, and then flip-flop, A describes and B listens, and then I'd like to paraphrase for each other. Let's practice our paraphrasing without saying what you said was. Okay. Any questions? What questions might you have about this task? All right, work on your 30-second speech. Thank you. Dan.
One of the key things that I heard was about the importance of creating a sustainable culture so that when the grant dies, what we're trying to accomplish here doesn't die within the staff, because a lot of times if principals leave or certain teachers, it just goes away.
It cannot be personality-based. It can't be that dynamic reading coach, Title I, principal. It has to be built into the system. Where was my number 2? Right there?
I think Mark and I were both very sensitive to how people might feel about your presence or just the idea that you're doing something different. So the idea is that we're partnering with your school to quiet the chaos around us in order order to grow your literacy program forward from where it already is.
Who would not want more quiet chaos? So quieting, calming, helping to focus, and efforts around literacy take you where you are. Moving forward. Nicely done. Street.
Cindy suggested adding something to our elevator speech about our end goal. So letting them know that we're working towards a high quality, high integrity, high fidelity implementation of the GLs.
Three critical concepts that this grant focuses on. Say them again, nice and loud.
High quality, high integrity, and high fidelity implementation.
So think a minute about what does that mean? What does high quality mean? What does high fidelity mean? When you return to your seats, I'd like you to take just a brief moment and amend or jot or add a word or two that you want to make sure you don't forget. Go ahead and go back to your seat. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Sorry? Yes.
Thank you, so we need a little more. For our lunchtime. And as we remember, as we go into these schools, there's already great things happening, which you know. So it's not, we're not going in there to fix it. We're not going in there to make sure you're aligned to the standards, et cetera, which your elevated speeches are great because you're walking alongside of them to help them grow literacy and improve. So I want you to think about those principals and the teachers for a minute. Think about when you, years ago, had a student teacher, right? What are your thoughts with a student teacher? You're thinking, okay, am I going to be a good one, right? That's the first thing. That's one of it. What else do you think about with a student teacher?
What do they need to know and be able to do to be successful?
Absolutely. What do they need to know? Yeah. What training did they have? You know, what are they, am I getting one that I'm going to have to help improve or not? What am I going to do with this person all day? Am I going to give them some, control in my room or not, Bob?
Are they willing to invest in the process?
Yeah. Are they willing to invest? Exactly. Is this just another check?
Preconceived ideas of where they're graduating from.
Absolutely. Depending on where they went to school. Good one.
Are they going to add to my workload?
Yes. Are they going to add to my workload? Exactly. And I know as a principal, I had the teachers that wanted the assistants because the assistants they didn't have to do a big write-up on. They could work only part day in those groups. But when it came to the student teachers, sometimes they were like, oh, and then, is it going to hurt my evaluation? That was the latest one in the last few years that I heard. That was a big one. So now I want you to think about those principals. So shift your mind to the principals right now. Probably all the things that we felt, they're feeling a little bit right now. Because, all right, Maria, I'm going to put you on the spot. Sure. You're a principal. Sure. Here I am. Let's improve this school, right? How are you feeling about me right now, huh?
I think there's probably a lot of fear of the unknown.
Right. Yeah.
So I love the analogy that was shared here, just quieting the chaos and letting principals know, because it is chaos, right? Absolutely. Every day you just never know what the next 5 minutes will bring. And so I think helping them understand that we're there to quiet the chaos and support and calming those fears that they have.
That's a great point. Going to these intro meetings, and then Bob, I'm going to have you go, but going to these intro meetings and telling these schools why we're here. The staff, they come in, they don't even know why we're there sometimes, and they're just stressed out. And it's exactly what you said, just walking through that. We're just here to support this, you have chaos, we talked about it, the students are doing this, look at, there's kids in the halls. And just talking for that, it's about a half hour to 45 minutes. It's amazing the stress level that goes down. And the emails that I get from the principals afterwards said, thank you so much for coming in. And I really don't think I say anything spectacular. I just tell them, and I tell them about you. I give them some examples of who's in here. Well, we have one, most of them are principals, but we have an instructional coach that they've worked with principals before, and we go through that, and they're like, well, get us a good one, okay, we will. Don't worry. Let's just so, okay, the quieting the chaos. Bob, as a principal, what else?
Well, you kind of answered my question. You talked about, so what was the stage for these people knowing about this? Like, how did that play out? So it sounds like they have an investment, you can use that word again, they know what's coming, they know basically what we're about to do.
Absolutely. Western has been fabulous, and Ottawa ISD too, about communicating with the superintendents and having them all on board. So that process was all, arranged and everything. It's good. Now we're the next level. Now we go into the buildings. So they have 3 meetings, these buildings. An intro meeting, intro to the rounds, and what that really turns is an intro to the grant, because they want to know about that. So I kind of do the intro to the grant, intro to the rounds over there, and then a Q&A time. And then the rounds is the next process. And then the next one is the report out meeting. So those are the 3 times, like if I'm working with a building, those are the 3 things I'm going to do, and some of you have been in those rounds. But I tell you, these intro meetings, you do the first one, you're just nervous, no matter what. I don't care if it's your first day of teaching, first day of a new job, you're just nervous. And I know these people, and I'm still nervous, and I go in there, but by the time they're just caring. They just care about those kids. They care about their school. Some of them, it's not a required staff meeting, it's volunteer, and here they are with me at 4 o'clock. Talking about this, and I'm like, I like this right now. They're invested in this building. So they just have questions, who are you? Why did we get selected? What's the process? What are they gonna make us do? Are they gonna write down everything in my classroom? No, and then I talk about the green schools, what we did there, and then those lab schools that we worked with, one in Zeeland, Muskegon, what happened, the libraries that businesses supported them, the scores that went up from there, and they were just like, wow, they were excited. Maybe we'll get some resources too. Yeah, maybe you will, and they do get some resources with this. So thank gosh we scheduled those intro meetings, because can you imagine if we didn't? Here you go, here's Bob Siegel, he's your, mentor, facilitator, and then they'll ask, what's the difference between a literacy coach and this coach, and who are they really working with, and then we talk about those things. So it's really good to do. Sometimes the schools are way out wherever and you get lost. My little Google Map thing or what I ran on my phone took me in a square, round and a square, round and a square, and it's dark like 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, where is this school? I'm thinking, I'm not going to listen to this. I'm not going to listen to technology. I see a school sign. I can use my intelligence. I'm going that way. Sure enough, guess what? It was that way. And the principal said, I'm sorry, it gets crazy in here. I'm like, oh yeah. Now I'm no landmarkers. I popped out by a gas station and I thought the next time I go up there, I'm looking for the gas station, then I'm turning right. Forget my phone. So sometimes you think you have it all figured out, guess what? And then you have to change course direct and go somewhere else, right? And that's what will happen in this process. But I just wanted you to go back and think about being a student, having those student teachers, because that's what a lot of teachers feel. And principals, boy, they haven't had a student teacher in a long time. Not that you're the student teacher, but it's those feelings again, because the principals will ask me. They'll sit down, what's this person going to do? What's their background? And some of them have asked for resumes to preview for you guys because they're nervous. They're nervous. They want the support, but they're nervous. And then once you get on board, they're excited. They're like, when can I talk to my facilitator? What did I do? They're asking the same question. Just hold on a minute, just 1 more week. So a lot of them, once we get in there, they are getting excited. So I think you're going to have an enjoyable experience. And again, if something's not fitting right and you don't feel comfortable with something, you have a question, that's what we're here for. So contact us and we'll help work through that process. So basically today we wanted to talk about that first day if you haven't been in there yet. That first day, setting the stage for coming alongside the leadership. What's your principal thinking and feeling? What do you want out of that first day? You have to think about that. And what's that first day going to look like? So there's a couple things I want you to do. How are you going to set a relationship with that principal when you walk in? What are you going to say? Okay, what are you going to do that first day with that principal? And then in your mind, do you think you'll meet with any other staff? What's something that you would say to the principal? I think what would be a good thing, and this might not, you're going to want to talk a little bit about that project, like your elevator speech, because they might want that again, just for reassurance. Oh yeah, this is what we're going to do. But what's something you can do that first day to build a relationship? Or what's something you would bring with you maybe? Or not bring with you? Say, absolutely not, I'm not going to take my computer in there. Under no circumstances would I do that. Somebody might say, I want that. You have to set that feel. So I want you to think about that for a second. What I'm going to ask you to do, just think about it, is I want the tallest person in your group to stand up. The tallest? Did we do tallest yet? No. The tallest, stand up. That's your hand. You don't have to say. All right. I want you to look at the number on your table, tall person. And in a moment, I'm going to have you get a chart paper with your number on it. And you're going to process these questions, and you don't have to answer all of them. I would want to know what you're going to do that first day. If I'm going into a building, I want other ideas from people in my group. What are you going to say? What are you going to take with you? What do you think? What should we talk about? How do we go about letting them know what our role is? So think about them, have you process it, just brainstorm, doesn't even have to be full sentences on the paper. And then we're going to maybe go around later and share those. So you're going to walk out there, get him onto the, Derek, he's the video person out of the way, out the hall. So your number chart is on the wall. Go grab your number and come back into your table. It's right outside on the wall.
It usually does.
Okay, got my camera green color. Now the action is alternating.
I don't have to prepare about letting them know about this project. Get to know people.
Conversations to a close, that would be fabulous.
But I think that.
Although plans change, right, as we go along.
So then, but you still.
For sure.
So maybe you can. All right, thank you. Any questions?
You know why Congress?
Our intent was to do. I mean, because if we, no, even just.
I love it, I know. My intent was to do a gallery walk, but as you can tell, we're not going to have to do a gallery walk because there's a lot of amazing conversation. So I want you to think in your group real quickly about kind of some points that you feel we're going to share these. We're going to have time to look at them, but that you would like to share before we head out in a little bit because Derek has to share something before lunch and so does Doug Greer. So just synthesizing that a little bit, a point that you might have thought, oh my gosh, that's a good idea. I might want to share this with another group. If you could do that for a minute, and I'm going to call each table, so instead of saying I need one volunteer, I'm going to tell you, this is the principal in me, right? I'm going to tell you your table's going to share. But we will start with backwards, so 8, think. We'll go backwards, we'll go 8, 7, 6, etc. So if you could share 1 or 2 ideas, that would be awesome. My 8 group, you're in the back? All right, go ahead, 8.
Stand and share, we need oxygen. All right, so stand up, we need oxygen. It's important.
Yes, sir. So, I think what we talked about a lot and repeatedly was getting to know the principal first and foremost. So we have to build a trusting relationship with them. Because if we don't build a trusting relationship with them, then the staff is going to look at us suspect anyway. So I think one of I think that's the most imperative thing. I was a principal last year in Colorado, so I know if somebody was coming, I'd be looking at them like, and if my staff sees me looking at them like, then they're going to reflect that behavior.
Yeah, you want to be seen as supportive, relationship, and a good resource. Love it, resource. All right, 7.
We want to, again, have a conversation, get acquainted with the principals, see what their plans, goals are. We for sure want to be supportive, see what the school goals are. And one point that we thought was really important, especially as we're getting to know these principals, is to be mindful of principals' times and needs, that we are not the only person on their agenda.
One thing I'm gonna share in my role at Kent, I would always be a good resource for people. Somebody would ask a question, I'd run out and get it, even if they didn't ask me directly. And I watched once, well, a secretary would do this to staff that would come in, or teachers with their continuing education units. And one time, one of the secretaries, someone emailed and said, hey, you know, they needed something, but it was another department. She said, well, you need to email that person and send it back. Now, it's a local district. They don't know who that person is. They don't even know that person's email. That's not a good resource, you know, that's not a good support. So if they ask you a question, well, I don't know, it's on that literacy site, not that you would do that, but you would find it out, you'd send a link, and I mean, people just love that because they have 1,000 things and you're there to help them, so you get them and follow up that information. That's that supportive piece and the listening ear too. 6.
So we would agree with everything that's already been said, and then add to that to let them share celebrations too, this initial encounter, and to also provide, you know, information about ourselves so that we have that reciprocal piece going on. So that's what we would add in addition to.
Absolutely. Perfect. 5.
So in addition to all that, one of the things we talked about was the physically, metaphorically, walking alongside, show me your building, and walk and talk, so that way it's not confined with us.
Absolutely, I love that, then the staff sees you out and about. Perfect. Are we at, what are we at, 4? 4?
Same as everyone else, relationships is the key. We did talk about not wanting perhaps to spend a whole day initially. That could be a bit overwhelming.
Yes.
And we did some of the not stuff, like not bringing in a computer or writing a lot of notes. That would also seem evaluative.
Yep.
So be gentle.
Right. It is a little nerve-wracking when somebody comes in and plops their computer down because you don't feel they're really focused on you. Even though they're taking notes on Google or whatever, you want them to look at you in the eye and listen. 3, where's my 3?
So we talked about using the principle from adaptive schools, which is intention drives what you pay attention to, which will drive your actions. And so that should be the foundation of all the other ideas and the ways that you build a relationship. And then we also talked about, we talked about the building tour as well, but then having some conversation about what initiatives do you currently have in place and how do you see them fitting in with the work we're about to undertake?
I love that because you know what? Is it one more thing? That's what someone, is it one more thing? So great point, excellent point. Number 2, where are we, over here?
Ditto. We talked about spending some time on the internet ahead of time to read whatever is written about the school so that we sound a little informed. And that it is a more low-key interaction that we initially have with the principal so that they can get to know us as well as we can get to know them. And so asking them what questions do they have about us, what questions would they like to talk about, and let them direct some of the focus of the conversation.
Great point. Know what grade levels are in the building. Exactly. So you don't go in, spending time on that. Number 1.
Okay, beauty of going last, as you guys have covered most of it. But we just talked about really establishing, again, it's really about relationships. And establishing first with the principal is kind of that hierarchy, then your team leaders. So we talked about meeting outside of the school day, maybe providing that opportunity. I'm a food person, you can kind of tell by looking at me. So in myself, I'm a principal right now. So I would love you all, but I don't have 10 minutes. I don't even have 20 minutes to carve out for you during my day to have my conscious, all the time attention, undivided attention. So I would probably invite outside of the school day, invite dinner. You know, lunch, if they can get away. I don't know how they do that. But if they can, I'll force to them. Maybe they've got an assistant. To establish that relationship and to seek to understand. I'd even bring a gift. I love chocolate. And, you know, and then first day visit, again, it's kind of like a rinse and repeat with team leaders, walkthroughs side by side. And then we talked about also, again, the purpose building that relationship and then some kind of a post follow-up. So we did it before, a during, and an after.
Good. You know, awesome. Derek's going to hang these out in the hallway for us. One thing I want to go back on that a little bit is I teach a college course on shared leadership. And what I'm finding through this course is The principals that are taking it and the central office are learning, and even some teachers learning more about, instructional rounds, classroom learning labs, instructional coaches, what do they do? Using math coaches, literacy coaches, and it's relieving some of the pressure that some of the principals are feeling, so that some of these teacher leaders are helping with the curriculum and some of the other responsibilities, so there's some time to do some of these things. So hopefully we can get them to that point where, and I know, because I was there, and you feel just beyond yourself. You go early, you stay late. How can we offer some support so that they can focus on some of these initiatives? So how can we use our teacher leaders? How can you capitalize on that? You're there to provide support, another hand, an extra hand. But how can you help some of those leaders step up too, to help that principal? Some things to think about. Also, I want to go to this number, I think it was 4. Yeah, that first day, don't feel you have to stay there the entire day. I know your other days will be full and you'll be working with all sorts of people and data teams, with that first day, you don't want to overwhelm them like that. Go in, make them feel comfortable, walk to school, etc. And then they're going to get a feel for you. If they feel they have to have you there the first day, all day, that probably is going to cause some anxiety. So I really like that comment too. Awesome thoughts. As we're not leaving yet because I have 2 people that want to say 2 quick things, but all the chart papers out there, so I noticed some things that weren't talked about, there were great ideas on there. Just look when you walk in or go to the break, because there's some really neat ideas out there too. So Derek and Doug Greer, but Doug Greer is going to go first. And they know that I just like...
As important as Derek's, because Derek's going to tell you about lunch.
Yes.
So I kind of stand in your way between the lunch information, and if you don't know me, my name is Doug Greer. I'm with the Ottawa Area ISD. And just do some work, and I just want to thank you personally. Just say thank you, because we've been talking about this project for a long time, and you guys are starting to put a definition on what it means to come alongside a school. And I just appreciate the small ways that you guys are articulating that we're going to come alongside and not bring something new, but to help them align what they're doing with some very important work to help improve teaching and learning. And I just want to thank you for that. So, in terms of relationships, in the way that a lot of this is all organic, the way we've been matching facilitators to schools has also been very organic. And we've really relied on the schools, the districts, and the ISDs. And a lot of matches have been made, but they're not all done yet. And I know there's some of you in this room that have capacity to still be matched with schools. And what I'd like to do, if that's you, and you still have some capacity, because I've been really getting a lot of help from Dorothy, who I'm sure you all know, and Diane Tallow, who is also in the back, and a lot of other help, but the 3 of us have been doing a lot of the work in making some matches. And I know everybody has lunch plans, but when you get done with lunch, if you still have some capacity, if you would just touch base with Diane, Dorothy, or myself. And if lunch doesn't work, we'll be here after the session's done. Dr. Pat Reeves is going to be answering some questions on some other topics, but I will be here, Diane will be here, Dorothy will be here, and we can meet after the session as well. And just to have a conversation about what you might have available, where you might be willing to serve, because location is huge. And I can give you some more information about what is available. So with that being said, the more important stuff is about the eats.
The eats, yes.